Gobble, gobble, mother. Listen, whether you like turkey or ham or maybe both for Thanksgiving, if you're looking to buy a property in the Miami-Dade area anytime in the future, you absolutely must watch this video. It's going to be jam-packed with so much data, it would literally be consumer negligence for you to miss out on this, okay? Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, your Miami real estate agent, and all my contact info is in the description down below if you guys would like to reach out. So in this video, we're gonna be talking about supply, we're going to be talking about median sale price, number of sales, literally everything that you need to know in order to make the best informed decision for you and your family in this topsy-turvy real estate market. So I'm excited about it. Hope you guys are. And without any further ado, let's start gobbling up this data. All right, so the first thing I want to share with you guys is this graph right here. So we're going to be looking at single family homes and condos separately with each of these graphs. I'm going to show you the graph, and then I'm going to show you the numerical data afterwards for all the visual people out there that want to see those numbers, like myself. We're going to be looking up to November, and we're actually going to project these sales out and see what we should probably be seeing at the end of November. So let's go ahead and see what we can do here. Now, first off, we're starting with single family homes. You can see it's January 2019 to November 2022, and it's Miami-Dade County, as I mentioned before. So, number of sales, you see the green line here. It has been going down since March, okay? So, sales have been decreasing for single-family homes since March, and what we see is days on market has actually been increasing since about May, which, as I've said a million times on this channel now, May was the top of the market in Miami-Dade. Now, what does this look like as far as data goes, okay? So, what we see is number of sales there in October was 900. It is so far at 433. So if we were to extrapolate out this data, fill in for the days that haven't happened yet, and try to take an educated guess on what the number of sales will be at the end of the month, then what we arrive at is 619 to 680. So there should be between 619 and 680 closed sales. The reason why there's a range, I baked in a margin of error because there's 72 hours that agents have to report their closed sales after the month, after the sale closes. So if it closes on the last day of the month, you know, they have 72 hours to upload it. So I built in a 3-day, margin of error there. So between 619 to 680 is what we should be seeing right here at the end of November. If that is the case, then that will account for a 24.4 to 31.2% decrease from the month before, okay? That's gigantic. That is like such a huge deal. It's hard to overstate how big of a deal that would be if we saw a number of sales decrease that much, okay? And then what we see days on market, you know, they've been going up since, since May, like I mentioned, right? Now, you know, that we'll see what happens. You know, I mean, we should expect to see, you know, this number be somewhere around that 33, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But, you know, we want to see this number going up, okay? Because that means that prices, it's going to help prices eventually to fall. Longer homes to stay on the market, the more sellers have to adjust their prices to meet the market. Now, next graph here is for condos. Like I said, we do single families and condos. So single families, we see a very similar, condos, we see a similar thing. Since March, we've seen those sales decreasing. However, for days on market, median days on market, we've seen them increasing only since July, okay? So what does that look like? Boom, here it is. And I'll zoom in there. Oh, and you guys probably couldn't see that last one, days on market, but it's okay. So, you know, for this one, what we have in October for condos, we had 1,218 closed sales. So far in November, we've had 670. Now, if we bake in that margin of error, we try to extrapolate, figure out what we should expect, we should see between 957 and 1,053 closed sales at the end of November. And if we do, that'll account for a 13.6 to 21.5% decrease, okay? That's huge. Again, not as huge potentially as the single family homes decrease, which makes sense because there's a lot more inventory of condos, and you know, it's just generally it's there's more sales and there's more demand for it and so forth. But that would still be major, okay? From 1 month to have 13.6 to 21.5% decrease is gigantic, okay? So we will definitely be following this to see what happens. And again, days on market, we've seen that increasing here since July. Not as much of an increase as we saw with single family homes, but nonetheless, a pretty decent increase. Now, next up, we have number of new listings for single family homes and the active number of listings, also known as supply. So what we've seen is number of new listings has pretty much been decreasing since June, and the active supply has pretty much been increasing since about really about March, okay? So, that's kind of interesting to note because, what we see here, we see an increase in inventory and, this gets reported on the news as like, oh, inventory has doubled in the last, or the amount of new active listings has doubled, right here from the last, couple months or something. Or, they phrase it in ways that makes you think that it's more extreme. But in reality, this is still very low for inventory, okay? We need our supply to get back up closer to this 8,000 level. Even like the 6,000 would be good. But if we want to see prices come down, we need to see more supply coming on the market. Problem is that number of new listings has been decreasing since June, like I mentioned, okay? So we can see that here, and I'll not zoom in too far so I don't have to move my screen around. But what you see there is, basically since about March, it's been increasing as far as the number of active listings, aka supply. For number of new listings, right, what we've seen is, it's been decreasing as of lately, like we saw here. Number of new listings decreasing since June, right? We had a bit of a run up, right? But from 21 all the way down to 1,500 last month, right? There was a little bit of a run up, from this point, the beginning of the year. That's normal to have more new listings at the beginning of the year, right? And then things kind of balanced out here. Around that 19, 18, 19, 21, right? And then things started to go down. So pretty interesting. We're definitely going to keep an eye on those new listings as well as the total supply. Now for condos, similar story, except even less supply, okay? So look at that. Look how you see a bigger bump up in supply for single family homes comparatively than you do for, the condo market. Now, we also are seeing a decrease in number of new listings, right? So when you have less sales, like we just showed you in the previous slides, and then you also have less new listings, right? Even though you have less sales, if you're seeing less new listings, it's going to make it hard for supply to start to kind of pop off back to these levels where we need it. Like I said, with single family homes, we need them back closer to like 6,000 to 8,000. With condos, we really need to get condos closer to that 15,000 to 17,000 mark to get to an area where we could start to see real substantial price reductions, in my opinion. Because as long as there's low supply, the demand for Miami real estate is high, and there's not really anything that I think is going to change that. So when you take demand into account, and that's going to be somewhat consistent comparatively, what you need is an increase in supply in order to see prices reduce, okay? So this is Economics 101. Welcome to my course. So next up, we got number of new listings and active supply. This is the data for the graph I just showed you, okay? So you can see, again, we're seeing that decrease, right? The decrease in the number of new listings. That's a trend that has continued here since June. And we're seeing an increase in the number of active listings due to the decrease in sales. But look at how sort of stable that looks, I mean, for the last 6 months so far, it's been like 73, 74, 74, 74, 74. So, supply is holding pretty steady. We need more supply, guys, okay? So if you want to sell your house, reach out to me. Let's get it on the market, all right? Now, next up, I want to show you guys sale price, median sale price, and then close price to original price ratio for single family homes. What we can see for sale price, it's gone up, 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 like everybody knows. And then since that May point, when it kind of hit that peak, it's been oscillating back and forth. Now, surprise, surprise, this is literally exactly what I said was going to happen back in a video in, I think, June or something. I said, look, I'm expecting prices to kind of trade sideways here for a little bit. So you might have heard during this period of time, or, recently, oh, prices are coming down, but you don't hear it reported when they go back up. So, I want you guys to have the facts, because when you hear on, mainstream media that, oh, home prices are coming down, the real estate crash, right? You got to understand Miami. Well, first of all, understand that real estate's hyper-local, and every single hyper-local market is different. I'm in Coral Gables. Coral Gables has a different real estate market than West Miami or other parts of Miami, right? And then Miami has a different market than Broward, for instance, or Fort Lauderdale, right? So you got to understand real estate's hyper-local. So when you hear these across-the-board statements on mainstream news, make sure that you realize and understand that that might not be the case in the market that you're looking to shop or to sell in, okay? Now, for Miami-Dade, for single-family homes, we are definitely seeing an oscillation back and forth with the prices, okay? Now, this comes in the form of like bouncing back and forth between this like 565, 575, 550, 565, 575, and now we're back down close to that 550. So it's just bouncing back and forth. And again, what we really, really need is more supply in order for these prices to go substantially down. Good news is that deals have entered the chat again. We see this close price to list price ratio, which again, if this is your first time on my channel, close price to original price ratio is the percentage difference of what it actually sold at versus what it was listed at, okay? So if it was listed at 100,000 and it sold for 97,000, then it sold for 97% close to list ratio. Now, what we're seeing is, since that peak in May, these were actually over 100%, but this graph doesn't show it. But then, they went down. They've been steadily, this close price to list price ratio has been steadily going down since then. So deals have entered the chat, ladies and gentlemen. That's good news. Now, same graph, but for condos, let's check it out. So sale price, again, boom, we hit the peak in May, and then it's been oscillating back and forth, a little bit more of a downward, like pronounced downward initial trend there. But now look, we're kind of going on the way back up, median sale price for condos, okay? Even though there's more supply of condos than there is of single family homes and so on and so forth, right? Now, close price to original price ratio, there are more deals in the condo market. Even though the close to list ratio is kind of similar, the reason why I say that is because, look how quickly it dropped from 100% back to under 100%, right? The single family homes, they hovered there for a while, okay? So people were essentially, there was more demand for paying full price here than there was in condos, which makes sense because there was less supply in single family homes. So when there's more supply in condos, people feel like, hey, I can kind of shop around a little bit more. There's more potential to get a deal because there's more properties, okay? Now, what does this look like with the data? Let's check it out. That is, very similar. It was 97.2, 97.3 for condos, right? And median sale price, again, we see it kind of bouncing around in between this 400 to 375 range. And I think it's going to continue to do that until we see more supply, okay? So what does this mean for buyers, sellers, and investors? Well, for buyers, make sure that you guys are ready to have all your documents ready to go, and make sure that you are working with a skilled realtor who knows how to tell what the actual market value of a property is, rather than just saying, oh, offer list price, right? Because that's what lazy realtors were doing over the last 2 years, because you either had to offer list or above, right? So if somebody tells you, oh, I think it's listed at the right price, but it's been on the market for more than 30 days, which was around our average, median days on market, think to yourself, ask yourself, does that make sense, right? And you can always call me to get a second opinion. There's so much more I could say, but again, I'm trying to keep this video on the shorter side. So what does this mean for sellers? Well, look, again, you missed the top of the market back in May. However, the good news is you can still potentially get, a really good price for your home. You're bouncing between that range, right? So you're not at the top of the market, but you're pretty dang close, okay? So if you need to sell, now is still a good time, because the buyers who are on the market are very qualified. Because if you're looking when interest rates have doubled over the last year, then and you have a pre-approval, then obviously you're a very qualified buyer, because you're still able to buy in a high interest rate environment, etc. So that's a good thing if you're a seller. The bad thing is, and also while we're on the topic of good things, there's a lot less competition if you're a seller. The bad news is that there's a lot less sales, right? If we do see that freaking 24.4 to 31.4 1.2% decrease in sales. That's not good news for sellers. You know, and this is part of why, you know, along with interest rates being so high, why sellers have decided to kind of wait to put their houses on the market. If you're waiting and you're not sure if that's the right thing, again, you can always call me. Do a free consultation. My Calendly link is in the description down below where it says book a free consultation. And I'll tell you guys what I think. You know, I mean, if there was a chart of what realtors spend the most amount of time in the statistics section of the MLS, if I'm not number one in that, I guarantee you I'm near the top. So I know the data. I know what's happening in the market. So you know, you really need a listing agent who not just knows how to market your property correctly, because, you know, in a sense, like that's what we're supposed to do. Like a good listing agent will know how to do proper marketing, which is also, you know, kill it at that. But a really excellent listing agent will also know what the market trends are so that they can price you ahead of the market and prepare you for what's coming in the market, right? So you don't end up staying on the market like these people who are, you know, I've seen things like listed for like 6 to 9 months that are just sitting there and the listing agents aren't doing anything about it, you know, for whatever reason, who knows? Okay. What does this mean for investors? Well, investors, you know, the deals have entered the chat. Like I said, it's time to start writing aggressive offers. And, you know, that's what I'll say about that. Again, any of you investors, buyers, sellers, whoever you are, if you're looking to do anything to do with real estate in the Miami-Dade area, I'm here to help you guys out. All my contacts in the description down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you don't mind, before you go, do me a quick little solid favor, smash the like button, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell, and potentially share this video with anyone you know who might be looking to buy or sell real estate in the Miami area, because I definitely guarantee you that this will help them out. You know, and other than that, guys, have a really safe Thanksgiving. You know, gobble, gobble, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.